ready. Ready? All right, Monday, October 6th, 2025, North Township Advisory Board meeting. Before we get started, first item this evening is the approval of August 25th, 2025 minutes. Members have been provided a copy, and I believe there's a copy at the back for the public. And I'm going to ask, are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? No? No. All right, none noted. I would entertain a motion to approve. So have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that's been taken care of. Next is billing service update.
Yep. Not a whole lot to report at this point. Things seem to be running smoothly. Year to date, at least as of a week ago, I have not gone in and re-diaried everything on my ledger, but as of last week, we had collected total so far this year $58,162 in billing money. There have now been 3 runs that have been sent to collections from the beginning of the year until now. Any questions about any of the billing at this point?
You have a total amount billed.
Let's see. I always question how accurate this actually is. So gross charges, and I believe this is before contractual write-offs and things like that, 152,123. So once you factor in write-offs, that number drops quite a bit.
That'll be back soon.
All right.
I'll go ahead and let you guys know so that way you have the information that our fees to EMSMC, let's see, in August, it was $1,317.92. In September, it was $1,481.22. So that's their percentage of what we've collected thus far. Not an exorbitant amount, given what we've collected.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item, 2026 budget.
All right, so this is our budget hearing, not adoption. This is just where we're rehashing all of the numbers that we've discussed previously. So let me pull it up on here. Okay, I'm going to look at the sheet on my paper so I don't kill my neck. So from the general fund, we've budgeted the township board at $3,750, the trustee at $20,350. Both of those are no change, okay, from 2025. The taxes at $6,500. Record books, stationery, office supplies, so this would be things like stamps, the books, the triplicate checks, all of those things, at $1,500. Attorney and tax prep, $3,000. Phone bill, $1,300. Training and travel, $1,500. Printing and advertising, we're at $1,000. Insurance and bonds, $1,000. Hey guys. The repairs and maintenance for the building, $5,000. Care of cemeteries, $25,000. The Indiana Township Association, so our membership fee is $300. That has gone up over the last couple of years. Library cards at $4,000, which I do have a proposed budget from them.
I told him.
The other fire and EMS line item at $60,000. So that is an increase based off of the interlocal agreement that says that any increase that we see in the lit certified shares will be put towards territory use.
Is that on the next page?
I'm sorry. Yes, it is. See, this is.
I got down, I'm like, where do I see
You're fine. Okay, where's my mouse?
Just finished library cards.
Yes, I'm looking for my mouse on the screen
Ah, yes.
because that is the most complicated part of this. Okay, scrolling over, there we go.
Get on that?
Well, seriously. Bear with me, guys. This is really tedious.
It is to-
Go away.
There.
Okay. So there's the other fire and EMS at 60,000. So bring the general budget total to $134,200.
And so, what I think I heard you say is that 60,000 is the, what we're expecting or possible from, lit certified share.
Correct. I actually believe it's going to be a bit more than that. But per the interlocal agreement, any increase that we've seen in the lit shares go towards territory purchases. So before the territory took effect, we were collecting between 80 and 90,000 in lit shares each year. So any increase over and above that would go towards territory. Any questions about the general before we move on to the next section?
So I would expect, like, for example, on capital outlays, we may do, allocation.
That's something that we might do an appropriation from the state of, yes, yep,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
So the cemeteries was mowing plus,
Plus, if we decide we're going to do either fencing or historically, we've done the cleaning of the headstones and we put 10,000 towards that, but about 15,000 of that is the mowing bill. Any other questions before I move on?
Chad did open the link, it is playing correctly.
Thank you.
Message.
Okay.
Probably on your desk.
For the township assistance budget, we've got $750 for record books and postage. Again, there are specific triplicate pages that we fill out for township assistance vouchers. And if we need to get more applications, all of those things, there are state prescribed forms, so we've got a line item for that. For housing and shelter, so mortgage or rent assistance, $7,500. Utility assistance, $10,000. Food assistance at $1,000. Healthcare and prescriptions at $2,000. Funerals, burials, or cremations at $3,750, bringing the township assistance total budget to $25,000. So this has pretty much stayed the same with a few slight tweaks over the years. Obviously, the largest areas that we see are utilities predominantly more than anything else. And then rent assistance really are where we see the majority. We've had, I think, 3 applications for cremation assistance this year, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm good.
Good? Okay. All right. For the territory, we have $12,000 budgeted for an administrative assistant. That is part of what Chad is being paid for the admin work that he is doing. That when we put that all together on the ledger, I will be lumping it in with the personal services line item due to the way that the payroll is run. There's no way to split that out. So, but that's $12,000 for admin. For insurance, so this is predominantly the HSA funding that we are doing. So think of this as like a health insurance line item, not property or anything like that. $26,400. Overtime at $15,000. Payroll taxes, $35,200. Our personal services, salaries and wages at $350,000. Volunteer firefighters, $40,000. Volunteer officers, $20,000. Perf, $23,100. Office supplies of $5,000. Fuel, $21,000. Clothing and gear, $35,000. Communication, 25,000. Medical supplies, 18,000. Station maintenance supplies, 5,000. Our ALS assists, we doubled to $6,000. Insurance, so this would be the property and casualty, the workers' comp, so on and so forth, $50,000. Utilities of 20,000. Maintenance contracts, 11,500, so that would be something like the cot and load system or the pest control that we have around the station, those things. Repairs and maintenance, 40,000. Acumed overpayment of 2,000, so that would be if we needed to pay anything back from the billing, if there's a discrepancy or anything like that. Miscellaneous, $4,000. Small equipment of $45,000. Training of $8,000, bringing the territory general to $817,200. I know we've already hashed some of this out, but do you guys have any?
So go back up to page 3. Page back up. Let me find it here.
Can't quite fit all of it on one page.
Go within that page. No. Okay.
Not seeing it on there?
No, I thought there was like an amount for 40,000 in there for equipment. And then you had small equipment as another amount.
So we've got, I'm wondering if you were thinking of we've got 40,000 for repairs and maintenance.
Okay.
But I'm wondering, so this year when we did the SCBA's, we had $40,000 from the loan repayment, which we didn't do a loan.
Okay.
So we're moving that
Okay.
towards that. I'm
All right,
wondering if
that-
that's maybe
Right.
what you're recalling? Any questions?
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
I'm good.
Okay. And then finally, for the equipment replacement fund, I did put a line item in there for capital outlays, but at this juncture, we don't have anything planned to spend next year necessarily. But we've got the line item there in case we would need to do an appropriation with the state. So that brings our North Township budget total to $976,400. I did get the certified net assessed valuation for Marshall County. For 2026, this is subject to change if anybody appeals their property taxes. But for fire, it is $228,721,018. So 228,721,018. So if,
So that's specifically for fire, you said?
so fire has a different certified net assessed valuation than general, which is a little bit lower. So I used fire because that's the majority of our budget when calculating. So if we have the $817,200 for the fire total specifically, plus, so the $817,200, plus the equipment replacement fund, which is 0.03333 for every $100 of net assessed valuation. So 0.0333 by 22,872, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, it brings the equipment replacement total that we should anticipate to approximately $76,500. So you take that total, which is $893,700, and you divide that by the certified net assessed valuation. Gives us a rate of 0.003907, and you multiply that number by 100, which gives you 0.3907. You add in what we would anticipate for the general fund levy, which we should anticipate 0.037. That doesn't wiggle very much because we're at our max levy. Brings the township total rate to 0.4277, which is a 19.97 decrease.
Say it again.
19.97% decrease. Now, the DLGF, they tried to just automatically put the rate at the max. We want you guys to take the max rate that you possibly can. That was not the township's prerogative. We wanted to try to lower the rate for everybody. So we can actually go in and tell them, this is what we want you to set the rate at, which is what I was waiting on the certified net assessed valuation for. She still says, be a little cautious about doing that because people could appeal their property taxes, which would drop that number, which means we're collecting less. Okay, because we've got a lower certified net assessed valuation, so we wouldn't collect as much in taxes. I don't think that we should anticipate that number to swing so wildly that we couldn't go in and say, yes, we would like to do this at the 0.4277, or just using the fire and equipment replacement fund of the 0.3907, knowing that we are not going to be spending all of our budget this year. There's just no way. So even if we collected a little bit less than the $817,200, I think we've got a little bit of wiggle room there on what we would still have in the account.
And because the DLGF will take into consideration the collections that we have been taking in this year.
Yes.
That could offset any appeals on homeowners or property owners' valuation and/or bump this up 0.03 of a percentage point to the magic 20%.
So, correct, yes, because we would see that number, any collections would drop the rate.
Okay.
So I don't foresee it actually making up
Yeah.
anything.
Right.
So if we had a 34% increase last year and a 20% decrease
Decrease.
this year, that's 20% of the 34%. So
Essentially,
about
14,
7%.
34 to 20.
6.8.
Okay, you lost me, but I
Okay.
trust your math.
Well, because the last meeting I was at, we thought it would go down about 7%.
Does anybody else remember a 7%? I don't, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right. That's fine. This is fine.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Any questions about any of that? And are you guys in favor of me going to the DLGF and saying, this is what we would like our rate to be set at, rather than them just automatically assessing the max rate?
So those collection monies go back into the general fund,
Correct,
and so they could be reappropriated if we run low.
absolutely.
So,
And actually, no, they go into the fire
They go
fund.
into the fire fund.
They go into the fire fund.
okay,
But regardless, that money,
so I'm comfortable with, you know,
But they're gonna take that estimated collection value and lower our
They will
rate
lower the,
by that
yes,
amount.
correct.
So,
Roughly,
yeah.
yeah.
So if for some reason something happened and we didn't collect very much, then we're at a deficit. Because we've estimated, or they're gonna estimate,
But we haven't budgeted to spend any of that. Like, so what
Right,
we
but
collect does not get spent in the same
Their
year.
mindset was that we're gonna have that money in, and DLGF is gonna lower the rate that you suggest to them
Correct,
by that amount.
yes.
So if we don't collect that amount, then we're back at a deficit.
There's the potential that we would be at a slight deficit anyhow, but we're already going to be running at a surplus because we're going to have budget left over from this year that we just can't feasibly spend.
And then that could be adjusted next year.
Correct. But we also do still also have more in the lit certified shares that essentially they just go into the general fund and then we budget to spend them. I haven't budgeted for the full amount. I still classify those as those are territory allocated. So we could always shift that if we needed to and do an appropriation for those funds,
Would you like that in the form of a motion?
preferably.
So the motion would be to ask to tell DLGF that we would like our rate to be the
Point.
0.4277.
I would go with the 0.3907, so that way it's the fire and EMS, so that way if the general could fluctuate some, that we still allow that to do so.
3907.
Yes, 0.3907.
3907, okay. So I will make that motion.
I'll second that. And you're including, are you including the acceptance of the budget as well, or just?
This is just a presentation, we don't adopt it at this meeting,
Okay.
so.
So, yeah, I second that.
Okay. Any further discussion?
No.
Okay. We'll take a vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Okay. The capital improvement plan, which we were technically supposed to have adopted before the end of September. But that meeting did not work out. So we're doing it as soon as possible. And if you guys vote on it this evening, there is a resolution there and I will get it submitted tomorrow. Let me find it in here.
It's really nice to be able to see what's on the wall there. I just gotta say that, so.
Okay, so I have not made any modifications since our last meeting where we discussed the capital improvement plan. So everything is as it was previously. I had asked the DLGF about the revenue and was basically told that we just have to use our best estimate, that they did not have any set numbers that they could provide us for guidance. So that's what I had originally done, so I just kept it as is. If I can find.
You think that's conservative?
I think it's absolutely conservative. There are a number of other items that we could have listed on here that feasibly we know need to be on the agenda, on the radar.
Okay.
But we didn't because it was, well, we might as well keep it as reasonable as possible. So we've got on there, just for anybody out on YouTube, building improvements in 2026 of 5,000, building improvements in 2027, knowing that we need to do an expansion for living quarters for employees of $150,000. We know that there is going to need to be at least one fire truck replaced in the reasonable future, I think, and I can't quite read it from this angle, guys, is that a 2028?
Yep.
Thank you. So the purchase of a new fire truck, we've budgeted $400,000, 200 of that from the general fund and 200 of that from the equipment replacement fund. And then also a new ambulance, because those are going to be on a rotation, that our 2019 ambulance by 2029, thank you, 2030, that we would be thinking about replacing that, which is actually well past the lifespan that we would normally project for that. So we've got $400,000 from the general fund, well, 200 from the general fund and 200 from the equipment replacement fund for that. So there are a number of other trucks and other equipment that would need to be replaced, that we have not even listed. This is just,
Well, the fire truck, 400 probably is not going to do it
no,
in a couple of years.
I know.
So, unfortunately,
This is going to determine what we turn over to the county for the road fund. So as it's currently listed on here, this, let's see here, does not have us turning anything over to the county. Because we're at a negative cash balance.
Oh,
And that was with being conservative on the things that we know need to be replaced. So I don't feel like anything was misrepresented or skewed. The other fund would be the rainy day fund, but knowing that we very likely will have some ambulance equipment that needs to be replaced, I think that there is every likelihood that we would be doing an appropriation before the end of this year to spend the rainy day fund, which is less than 30,000. I'm so sorry, I cannot read from this angle, but I believe it's, actually, it might not even be listed on there because, yeah. But our rainy day fund presently sits at $36,030.27.
So remind me again, we made a mistake with regard to the rainy day fund and paying for the postage thing a couple years ago. What is the exact way that we need to do that so that the rainy day fund is utilized? I can't remember, there was some kind of procedure or something we didn't quite do properly? Or-
So we just ended up not even spending it from the rainy day fund, didn't even attempt it, I just put it back into the general budget. You're testing my memory, Steve, and I,
So I guess I just want to make sure that whenever it comes time to do that, that we're dotting the i's and crossing the t's, right?
which I would reach out to the State Board of Accounts,
Okay.
just to make sure, that I run the appropriation through them appropriately.
Okay.
So it would require us to do a hearing before the end of the year,
Yeah.
just as it did last year when we appropriated funds. So,
I move adoption of the capital improvement plan.
I
as
second.
presented.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
there's that resolution there for you guys to make sure you sign before you leave, and I'll get everything submitted to the state tomorrow. For my update, the territory board did make a recommendation on the employee manual at the last meeting. So let me get that pulled up. The changes that were made were to add whistleblower protections to the manual. This was per the state of Indiana, when they reviewed everything for our Medicaid approval. They asked if we did not have whistleblower protections in the employee manual, that we add them. So I just went out to the US Department of Labor, pulled the information on whistleblower and pasted the language into our manual. And then changed the generals to North Township, et cetera, so that it applied to us. Everything else was pulled from the Department of Labor, and the territory board recommended to the township that we adopt this new manual.
Is there a second one you want to consider at the same time, or is, we just want to do this one first?
Looks good.
Let's see. In the manual, you mean, Steve?
I thought there was maybe something about the retirement thing, or,
I had made modifications to the insurance coverage regarding the HSA.
oh, that's right.
Just changing the language in there that what we will be doing is, funding an HSA for employees that are in an HSA eligible plan.
I'll move that we accept and adopt those changes.
I second them.
Motion's been made and seconded for adoption of the change. Whistleblower change. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
And give you guys an update. So as of today, the general fund, we are at 49% of the budget. For the township assistance, we are at 17%. For the fire budget, we are at 37%. Questions about any of that?
General's catching up because of insurance.
The general is catching up because we spent 39, here, I'll pull it over here so you guys can see it. When we did the SCBA's,
Okay.
39,000 went out for the other line items.
Yeah.
That was a good chunk right there.
Are we gonna be in trouble with township?
No, they only look at the 120% that the DLGF and the State Board of Accounts look at is for fire specifically. They don't look at general and say you didn't spend enough of your budget.
And so the 50,000 from the county, is that seen on this?
That is not seen on this screen. That goes. Which actually.
Bottom, or line 16.
No, that's not. Hang on, I'm sorry. I cannot read it this way.
It says 50 at 16 on territory operating.
Yeah, that, I think that might be the $50,000 that we got at the beginning of the year from the town. Let me pull it back over so I can read it, sorry. I've got
50,000 went into the
general.
general.
It went into the general fund. but I'm not 100% sure that I've actually even receipted that in yet.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure that I've got it receipted in on my ledger yet. It went into the account. I do not know that I've accounted for it yet on the
I think
ledger.
it just goes into the general.
It does go into the general fund. Let's see, I think I did though.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah, it's not clear on there. I think that Matt Smith is still working on getting out to the cemetery. His schedule has just been crazy to finish up the cleanup that we had talked about way earlier in the year. That is still in the works and on his radar to do before the end of the year. Let's see what else. I do have the proposed 2026 contract from the library. It mimics every other year. If we talk in March about potentially changing the way that we handle the library cards, then the 2027 contract would probably look different. But as it is right now, we've got the $4,000 that we budgeted for it, so we'll have to wait until we get a little bit closer to the end of the year and ask the library what we're sitting on in terms of funds to determine what we send to them. I think Mr. Davenport had asked that I reach out to the property owner next to Fairmont that is currently excavating out there, to determine what it is that they might be doing and if they're going to be putting up any fence, because that would potentially border part of Fairmont that we know we need to put a fence around at some point. So I'm going to be sending a letter to that owner asking them to just reach out if they'd be willing to discuss what their plans are.
I appreciate that. I also wondered if the movement of dirt is going to affect that tiny little pond. And if they're gonna be pushing that pond more onto our property. I mean, there's kind of a steep drop off, and I don't think it's gonna matter or anything, but it's like, I just wondered about that. Is that, I don't know if that should even be a concern, but it is something I thought about.
As somebody who excavates, any thought?
I would be a little surprised if somebody wouldn't throw a fit if they try and fill that all the way in and dispose of a wetland. It wouldn't surprise me if Army Corps of Engineers, somebody doesn't get a call and put a stop to it for as long as it's been there.
It could be that some of that wetland is in the cemetery too. So
It's possible. I don't know what those regulations are, how big the wetland has to be before you're not allowed to cover it over. I know 15 years ago, we were hauling to a location off of one of our job sites, or my dad then, and after about 3 days of hauling dirt, got a cease and desist order to stop. The Army Corps of Engineers said, no, that homeowner's not allowed to fill in that wetland.
So that's probably zoned as wooded area. And because that north part of our property is woods.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they necessarily say that that's a wetlands area,
And that's possible too.
because they had dug that as a pond to drain off the green and things like that, but
Yeah, maybe it's commercial since it was a golf course? I don't know how that works.
well, I asked Emily about that because I thought we would have to been notified if there was a change in zoning or request, and
I've
to
received
my knowledge, I
nothing.
don't think we ever got anything,
Mm-mm.
so it's probably right.
Yeah, I've seen some things on Facebook about what possibly, but there's no point in even mention, because who knows if that's factual or not. So,
But you haven't heard back from them?
I have not even sent the letter yet.
Oh, okay, all right.
I just went out on Thursday to figure out who the owner of the property was, and so I'm gonna get the letter drafted.
I suppose the building permit would be public record, would it not?
It's supposed to be posted out there if they're gonna build something.
I don't remember seeing.
So drainage should be a part of that plan, so it's probably been addressed.
Yeah.
I would think.
Is it, yeah, for the
That's
driveway.
right, that's right.
Do what?
Does that have to be posted prior to that?
It has been brought to the county surveyor's attention.
Say that one more time?
It has been brought to the county surveyor's attention.
Believe those are all the updates that I have at this point. There's been a lot going on, so if I've missed anything, I will circle back around.
I don't know if you wanted to mention the claim.
So there is, yes, I brought it up to the territory board, I apologize. There was a blood exposure of one of the firefighters at the recent stabbing call. So there's been a claim submitted to workers' compensation. Hopefully everything will be absolutely fine. The firefighter has gone for an initial blood draw, and they have to return in 6 months for a second blood draw to make sure everything looks okay. So.
Thank you.
Do you want me to bring up the door?
No, I will.
Okay.
Whenever it's my turn.
I think I am done unless I pipe back up.
All right, Matt, you're up, did you order?
Or bad of the order in this case. Had a firefighter doing some maintenance on trucks the other day, during the day. One of the part-time gentlemen who's also a volunteer, and his story is hit the door button on the wall, the door went up, and then started to come back down as he went to back out. I wasn't here, nobody else was out there, his partner wasn't out there to see what happened, so needless to say, one of the garage doors got backed into with the fire truck. There was no damage at all that we could find on a fire truck. Maybe the dump chute was twisted just a little bit, and it's on the oldest truck in the fire station, thankfully. However, there's a door that is crinkled and not working at this point in time. It's one of the pull-through bays, so at least we can get the fire truck out the front when it's needed. The entry company that has been doing the work on our doors recently gave me 3 different options. They're all fairly close in price, the 3 that I have there in front of you. I think with as close to the prices are, I would like to go with option number 3 because it's complete new guide rails, all new hardware for the door, and a complete new door. I don't think for $500 to the lowest option is worth not replacing it all completely for a 35-year-old door. I don't know, what year was the station built? 94. So the door is shut and secured currently, so if you guys choose not to wanna, and I guess, well, I don't know. Does a $7,000 bill have to go since it's for the building to the territory? This just happened Friday.
I mean, not necessarily. We've got money in the general fund for building repairs and maintenance that this could technically fall under or be split or however it's.
Do you have a recommendation in consideration of how we anticipate spending some money for the rest of the year? what category you might suggest that should come from.
So,
And I've got a repair and maintenance line item.
you do. There's,
If it wasn't a pull through and I had a truck trapped in the station, I would have
yeah,
just sent or had some phone calls and done it. But since I have the option of a little time in this instance, I didn't just make that decision, so.
there's $1,100 in the general fund for our repairs and maintenance yet, out of the 5,000 budget. So we could potentially split the payment between two different funds. But I also know that we are attempting to spend some of the fire budget down. So even if we overshot on the repairs and maintenance line item, which presently there's $19,822 still in the repairs and maintenance line item, we could always do either a line item appropriation or an additional appropriation if we needed to. I mean, it needs to be repaired regardless.
So what I hear you saying is that it might be best to use territory money for that. We want to spend that down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'll make that motion to approve option 3.
And I guess the other option would be insurance, but I don't think anybody wants to.
File a claim if we
Yeah.
don't have to.
No,
I think you're better off if you pull it from this one fund instead of splitting it.
Splitting it,
between the two.
I
think it
agree.
Probably belongs in the territory.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
you made a motion?
I
I
did.
second it.
Have a motion to take the money for the repair from the firefighting fund. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Fire territory. One of the fire-
It's the only one that I could pull it from feasibly, so we're good.
I appreciate that. If you guys didn't notice, the last line of that, the lead time could be 2 to 3 weeks on that, so. But I'll get that started tomorrow. My hiring process, I've been going through applications, sorting through information. I have 4 applicants. I'm hoping to maybe by the first of the month, be ready to give those to you guys or to the fire territory board, I guess it would have been the last time, for interview process and recommendation. So just to keep you guys up to date on that.
So when you say first of the month, you mean November?
Yes.
Okay.
When do you leave?
Mid-January.
Oh, you're waiting till, okay.
I'd be gone in December.
Yeah, unfortunately, you wait that long?
I try to be here for the first meeting of the year, it seems important.
Which happens to be the 6th
It
this
is
year.
the 6th, January 6th.
The other 2 topics that I have, one is the housing situation. The more I think about it, the more I talk to people.
We've gone back and forth between the two of us on this.
With as cramped as the station's getting, I would never recommend to consider the permanent living quarters upstairs. I think temporary for a few years is gonna be fine. I think we're better off to spend our money on something outside of the building. Because of the upgrades, just as cramped as things are now, as we're growing, the need for more office space, with career staff, I just think that we're better off going that direction versus spending $20,000, $30,000 trying to have something designed for upstairs just for a comparison number seems like a lot of money to spend for that. We were originally talking like $52,000 a year ago to have a comparison and a design project done. So if you look at half of that, that would be my recommendation. I'm happy to work that direction if you guys choose But I guess I'm looking for a little guidance.
I think some of the discussion around if there was a separate building to the north of the station here on the property, that it would give more storage ability. You know, I mean, just having space to put things right now is a challenge.
The station's cramped.
Do you have a vision?
I do. I don't have it on paper yet.
Okay.
If you want to see it on paper, I just didn't want to go talking to a bunch of engineers or architects or speaking for any money and without you guys' thoughts. And I guess to catch you up on to speed a little bit, since you've missed some of those prior meetings. So there is an upstairs here.
Okay.
The township gave some money, or we spent some money upstairs. We're renovating, putting a couple temporary bedrooms and a living room up there. Just because right now, during the day, for 12 hours a day, after their chores, they're in here in a camp chair. Or they're in an office doing something, but there's nowhere for anybody to slow down and relax or to get away from everybody if something else is going on in here. So I talked to some architects or some designers prior to the territory taking place, trying to look at this and figure out how to budget it. So there's ventilation system in the tune of $150,000, $175,000. Because with the trucks out here, if they're running and you get CO2 or something upstairs in a permanent situation, we could run into trouble there. During the electrical, you were here for the Banner Electric bill last month,
That went to the territory.
went to the territory.
Yeah.
So we spent money for them to have wiring done. We put in
Just under
hardwired.
$8,000.
We put in hardwired smoke detectors and CO detectors and things up there, trying to make it as safe as absolutely possible for the time being, for the short term. And then the fire department has done all of the drywalling and stuff, and we've got some things to finish yet, but there's been some people sleeping up there occasionally, some of the EMTs that live outside the area that still want to stay involved when the ambulance service was still around. So there's a bedroom upstairs that's finished and being utilized. But without doing all those extra upgrades and then not understanding exactly what the laws are for ADA compliance or fire codes for having 2 exits, so if you renovate, do you have to put in some kind of exterior exit from upstairs? Just a lot of upgrades and a lot of changes that need to be made to a space that's already cramped.
Right.
And honestly, they were talking, majority builders from just north of Lakeville. They do a lot of design build things, but they come down and looked, and they're looking at potentially sprinkler system because you're putting residential space above there. And another architect kind of said, no, fire station living quarters is exempt from that, but without digging into it, I can't give you a 100% guaranteed answer. I just don't see spending a couple $100,000 on renovating up there and bringing the space up to compliance for living quarters and potentially a ventilation system on top of that, when you can build a small home for that and add that much space. So we were thinking something to the north. There's gas lines and things that run through there. The sewer for the building itself is behind the bathroom, so that wouldn't be affected. So we were thinking something for living quarters over there with like a covered breezeway or something, so that in the middle of the night, when we ever get 24-hour coverage, that they would be able to get over here and be dry if it's raining or inclement weather.
And potentially, depending on cost, a garage there to park an ambulance
How
in?
many square feet do you need for living quarters for?
I didn't dig that far into it. I'm happy to put something together. I just kind of wanted you guys' opinions on, and wanted the opportunity to voice my opinion on which way I felt like. Go ahead.
No, I know that we have to do something, and I agree that upstairs isn't probably the best solution. But I'm looking at this room, thinking it's all part of the original structure, that if a room like this, or perhaps a little bit bigger, was put out here,
Add on,
taking that office and putting that office out there with it, and then using this area, then develop it for living quarters, you'd have a kitchen and you could add a private bath or whatever, and then have an area, as opposed to doing a separate structure that probably would be more expensive because of the 4 walls as opposed to 3. And you're tying into your existing building, so, for your water and things like that.
and that's an option. We actually had considered that as one of the options, was making this the living quarters and moving the meeting room upstairs. But then you're
we run into
ADA
ADA.
compliance to get somebody upstairs for a meeting, a public meeting. So, so you're thinking maybe moving the trustee's office and the meeting room.
Yeah,
Out
and
back?
I don't know what the square footage is of all this, and then maybe what you need, for now and maybe future growth, but I think that to tie on to this building and go that way would be better than to put it over there, and as opposed to, having a breezeway and things like that, because then they're in here, okay, and the air quality in here is okay.
Yeah.
Still do something.
We would still have to do something for ventilation,
Because
I
that
think.
door opens to the bay.
Yeah, they said something about doing like a,
You'd have to have a vacuum.
Yeah, vacuum,
Air lock.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have no clue what that costs, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be expensive too.
probably have to have it in a bathroom
I'll-
area too.
we did with majority, 20-some years ago, we did an addition on a church out here in the country, and we added on, they were gonna put a much bigger building in there, and then when we sat down with their design people, we found out that really what we needed was, by tying into the existing building, we could put a corridor down through and then have classrooms on both sides, and still use it, saved on the heating, and because it was all tied together, and a lot of the mechanicals were a lot easier, keeping it, tighter like that, but.
so we will be a little limited on how far we can go that way because we've now given the town
Yeah.
that property.
But
But
Yeah, but we wouldn't. I'll look at those options.
yeah,
no, just like past the,
Oh, yeah.
So you're wanting to get a feel for what we're thinking, and,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that a 1-story structure to the north might be a good option. Even if we did like a modular construction from like the place in Rochester or something, with sufficient room in there to provide space, and maybe we could tell them how much space we need for an office, how much space we need for common room, how many bedrooms, just design it yourself.
I'll try and nail down some more options. I'll talk to some people and see what their opinion is adding on to here. And bring some more ideas back for our next meeting. And
which is in 2 weeks.
I'll see what it really, so does the building design stuff need to go before the fire territory board,
No, it's budgeted from the general fund.
general fund, so it's township only?
Yes.
I'll get some more facts, the best I can, before the next meeting in 2 weeks. What day is that?
The 20th.
I'm less concerned about garage space, to be honest with you, but just to have.
Yeah, I think the only thing to bear in mind is that each of the bays currently are full.
Yeah.
There is no space to add anything, and so it is just a little full out there,
Yeah.
but
And it really got tight when they took the community building down, because then we moved all the chairs and all the tables and all the extra stuff from there up here, so. I think the only other, there's actually a couple of them. One is I've been asked to work on an equipment list for trucks, replacement time frame, some of the more expensive stuff. I did find a list that we had from 2019, but there's been some upgrades from that. So I'll continue to work on that for you guys. I would also like for you to have a chance to look over the current fire contract. Some things that we've talked about, maybe tweaking in there, some of the numbers before the end of the year for the 26 contract.
And you're
So-
talking about the contract with the volunteer fire department?
Yeah, yep, just so that's fresh in your mind if you get a chance to look at. And I know Chad had a brief update on some of the EMS equipment that we may end up having to purchase. Things are rapidly changing in that market, so.
Can I just interject really quickly?
So you,
Thank you. As of right now, there has not been a settlement agreement signed. I know that was what we were waiting on, to make a proposal, potential offer, but we were waiting on the signed settlement agreement. We're still in a holding pattern on that, so. Okay, go ahead.
all right, so I've been in contact with our sales rep for the load system and the cot and the life pack. Just because that quote that we had is now null and void, new quotes are in. Problem being is there is no used life packs available now.
That's the heart monitor.
The heart monitor, so if we would, need to purchase one of them, we'll have to purchase that new and that tune of $48,000 just for that piece. Might as well say 49 by the time you get done with adding shipping on it. So I did get confirmation today that there's currently cots available in the new used / remanned part, along with 5 load systems. The only way to reserve any of that stuff is by putting a PO in. I don't think we're at that point. Just wanted to let you know. So the difference between going all used, going with a used load system and a used cot, and then a brand new life pack, that totals like 115, 363, 48 per his quotes by dividing some stuff out of them. And then the brand new quote,
To do all brand new,
to do all
Equipment.
brand new, is 145.10 and 1 cent, which is like a difference of 25,146.53. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that the dollar amount between used and new has really shrank at this point. So you guys can have that in the back of your mind and maybe just wanna go all new, which would be my recommendation at this point, since we can't get everything used.
When it went from, this morning to this afternoon, this morning there was no load systems available,
And
no
there's-
remanufactured, and now there's
Yeah,
5.
When I emailed him
So
this
it's-
morning, there was 5 available, or that email I first sent you guys was from last Friday. When I emailed him this morning, 5 had became available.
So
But if we would go for the used life pack, we'd be number 76 on the list. That ain't gonna work.
So on the remanufactured cot system, are they gonna warranty that, or?
You would have to purchase the ProCare, which we're
So
gonna
they-
need
they
to
do
purchase that
come with a-
regardless. That's included in the price of
Okay,
stuff. The ProCare itself for all the items is $15,000 itself.
okay.
And that's
Was it 3?
3 years worth, I believe. Yeah, that would be 3 years worth.
Okay.
That's what the ProCare currently covers. I am currently waiting on a quote from him to add ProCare to the stuff that we are keeping, that are staying
Okay.
on mobile too.
Because that's all
we need to get
expired now.
that stuff serviced in December, because it'll be time for its annual service. So I'm working on that pricing. Hopefully I'll have that yet this week and I can pass it on to Emily.
Just kind of an update of how fast that stuff's changing and coming and going, and And I realize none of us have any control over the settlement stuff, but just so you guys are up to speed with that. We're up to 387 runs. So,
As of this afternoon at 2:00.
yeah.
So hearing that cost, do we want to revamp that counter offer if we ever get an opportunity to make one?
That's,
Well, everything be,
I
You would?
would not.
Would not, okay,
The reason being is that cot's no longer made,
okay.
yeah.
so, I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean,
and the age of it,
yeah, it's already
I mean,
10
it's-
years old.
So if we're gonna do that, then maybe we should just pitch that to the side and consider this.
well, I think that would have been their
That
opinion.
was our.
That was my opinion
From-
2 meetings ago, but again, I mean, that's totally up to you guys. I mean, I'm just bringing you the facts that I've gotten this last 2 weeks, so you guys have the information that's being passed.
Obviously, we want to act fiscally responsible for the township. However, we've also, we're in this holding pattern. We're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting at this point for something that we don't know if it will come.
And the last John said was they told the Marshall County Court they expected a signed agreement within 30 days, and I don't know from when.
Just recently.
Yeah, so, but who knows? We've been hearing that for a while.
And he also said that they sent back their
The settlement agreement, the proposed,
agreement
yeah,
with an updated one that had
yeah.
proper information.
We're 3 months out now from when this all started down the pike. So it's progressing slowly.
But wait a few more months and we'll just put it in the new ambulance, which is still proposed till August of next
August of
year,
next
so.
year.
That's when mobile one would go
Yeah.
over there, so we wanna see it.
Yeah, that's just when they project it. Mobile One will go over to start the work is August of next year.
That's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Thank you.
So I think, should we bring that back around in 2 weeks and see?
Yeah, I think we should, I mean,
I will forward you guys that information in case I can't be here.
Okay.
I don't remember what my schedule is that day.
What's a week on lead time if we went new?
I'd have to ask him the question.
Okay,
Yeah, we have to,
yeah.
I'll send you.
if we can.
Thank you, Jen.
No reply in the morning.
I know, but
find the bullet.
As a business person, I want to be physically responsible. I want them to have equipment that works every day when they get in the ambulance. You know, so I'm kind of stuck,
absolutely.
so.
Okay, now, we give
We're still-
Alice Archer an opportunity to ask questions.
Other supplies.
Nothing, anyone else?
That'd be down there.
Yeah.
Anything else anyone has to discuss?
No,
Okay. So with that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Got a motion made, seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Does any of those houses?
Our next meeting's already set, so.
October 20th
Okay.
at 6 o'clock,
28.
20th, 2 weeks from today.
2-0.
2020th.
Does it cost us
$16,000.
what it costs us? Well, you should be happy when you heard the